What's up guys, today I'm going to be building this go-bar deck behind me. If this premises looks unfamiliar to you, that's because it is. I'm moving workshop again. My guitar company's at the stage where it's ready for growth, which is amazing, but it means shifting all of this stuff across London once more. But today, all I'll be needing is my table saw. If you don't know what a go-bar deck is, stay tuned because I'm going to explain that down the line. Obviously, I had to draft in a glamorous assistant to give me a hand. Give me a wave. Do you know what a go-bar deck is?
No.
Cool. This workshop is so much bigger than my last one. I know I'm devastated to be leaving behind my beautiful community of friends and family at Cockpit Arts. This is the next stage and I can't wait.
There's so much room.
The first thing we started to do was map out exactly what height I wanted the go-bar deck to be. Because my new studio is overlooking the River Thames and the actual studio itself has no natural light, as you might have noticed, we took the liberty of doing this outside, which was super nice. But for this project, I was going to need to go and get a lot of wood. So we're going to Selco, which is like our local trade place near this new workshop, but the problem is my car is really small. It's like a hatchback. As predicted, I took one look at the plywood sheet and realised that it would in fact not fit in my car. So after looking at all the nice screws and stuff, we took advantage of London's speediest van rental service and I got Hugo to do the dirty work of driving me around. Rock and roll?
Rock and roll. Thanks.
Important. Back at the wood shop, I really wanted to get the massive sheets of ply done at the store because what a nightmare for my table saw. So they very kindly did that. All in all, it came to about £280 just for the timber for this project, but because I know that it's exactly to my specification, it's going to be worth it. Took us a while to get all of the timber in, and I was really glad Hugo was there to help me. The length of timber we needed added up to about 35 meters, so it would have taken little old me kind of a long time to do this on my own. I also had a fair bit of chopping to do, so I set about doing that on the little table saw that I'd brought with me from my old workshop. The fact that I can use a table saw without having to move anything else blows my mind already about this new space. There's just so much room to have tools set up so you can leave them where they are, so I was very happy about that. Hugo helped me get the basic blueprint together by laying all of the boards out nice and neatly, so I could just whiz round and drill them together nice and easily. This is the kind of work that's just a bit boring and time consuming, so I bid farewell to Hugo because he has a real job to go to and carried on the project on my own. Now let me tell you what a go-bar deck is because I think that's going to help you when you're watching the construction of it. Essentially what I'm building is an ancient Chinese clamping system, and although that sounds really fancy, all it is two platforms stationed a certain distance away from each other depending on the length of your clamping apparatus. The two platforms together provide a sort of clamping cord. I'm going to show you a picture because it's really hard to explain in language. The structure that the stick is on is called the go-bar deck, which is what we're building today, and the sticks are called the go-bar sticks. Go-bars can be used for so many things, not just guitar making, but they are generally most commonly seen, I think, in guitar making workshops. It's a really cool concept that has survived such a test of time, and it's a massive part of my job, so I want to get it right. I also thought I'd add another platform which I can use as a shelf underneath the work surface. I know I'm not exactly short for space in this workshop, but I feel like it would be a good thing down the line to install some storage solutions wherever I can, especially during the early days. My two platforms and my one shelf are made up of the same structure. It's just a rectangle basically with some screwed together pine, 2x4s, nothing fancy, but it's going to do the job really well, I hope. It was already feeling extremely heavy, but at this stage I could just about get it up, so that was fine. And so far it was all looking good, so I got it back down on the floor, added the sheets of plywood, screwed them to their frames. As you can see from the position of the plywood, I've already installed the lower shelf and the work surface, but now comes installing the top platform. Obviously I need to remember to put the plywood facing the work surface, otherwise the clamps will have an uneven surface to work with. And luckily I remembered to do that because I was worried I'd forget. Then came the biggest challenge of the day, which, as predicted, was the fact that I was not strong enough to lift anything remotely that size upright. This forced me to go on a little bit of a hunt around my building and make some friends, and I found this guy who was really sweet and he gave me a hand. Obviously I didn't film that because that'd be super weird and I'd make a creepy name for myself already on day one. So anyway, we got it up, no problem with 2 people, and I just made a few finishing touches because I noticed that the floor was a little bit uneven in my workshop, and this meant that the Go Bar deck was not as square as I'd like it to be. So I just had to make those tweaks. I put a couple of shims under the legs and it was all fine. So here's how it's going to work. See, imagine the stack of pine that I have here is a guitar. Top or back or side or whatever. As you can see, this clamping stick will push down without damaging anything that it's sticking to. I also thought it was a good opportunity to add some little additions for my ear defenders and clamps and whatnot, and at the end of the day I was so happy with what I'd achieved. Considering it didn't take too long to build, I think it's going to be so worth it to have one bespoke. Thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe to see more of this workshop come together. See you soon!